what would this be? Day number 5 on the campaign trail for the Canadian election, and most of the stuff is going to focus around Justin Trudeau, mostly because everybody else has just kind of been keeping their head down, and maybe they're just trying to take the Biden strategy because that was 100% legitimate and super successful when he tried it. But Trudeau's been out here, and over the past couple of days, he's made even a bigger ass of himself that I could have possibly thought possible. Anyways, Trudeau's I can't even say it, it's so stupid. She-Cession and She-Covery remarks are the words of an unserious person who is just a total ass. Like, there's no better way to describe him. This guy is, well, like Spencer points out, an unserious person. But he thinks that he's entitled to reign over Canada because his old man was in charge and almost fucked the country entirely back in the early 80s and late 70s. And this was all in the fact that he was talking about the economy that he purposely fucked with all of his lockdowns and all of his underlings, just imposing them throughout every province, regardless of case count, regardless of any of that shit. But he's doing something that makes it good for him, I suppose. But whatever, fuck him. Trudeau uses the terms She-Cession and She-Covery. It's a pathetic attempt to try to win votes to women by acting as if only women have been impacted economically. Oh yeah, no, it's always women and most affected, obviously. Didn't you know that? He's a feminist. And talking down to women as if they were children. Trudeau says Canadians need to counter the She-Cession and turn it into a She-Covery. I'd wish you'd put a she-lug into a she-ot-gun and place it in your, well, I think you can kind of finish the analogy yourself. Anyways, yeah, what else has he been up to? Well, not getting Canadians out of Afghanistan. How about that one? Yeah, with the walls closing in, and we recognize Taliban as a terrorist organization, but we're also going to be negotiating and dealing with them. Okay, cool. Says Canada won't get as many as we want out of Afghanistan in coming weeks. So what? Godspeed and good luck to you, and hopefully you convert to Allah. This guy's a fucking loser. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau confirmed Thursday that Canadian Armed Forces assets and personnel are in Afghanistan to coordinate safe evacuations with the United States and other allies, though the numbers of safe returns may not initially be as anticipated. He said that 2 Canadian Air Force C-17s would make regular flights. 2 of them. I think that there are a few more than that on staff, but you'd also have to talk to your disgraced but currently employed Secretary of Defense, or Defense Minister, sorry, confusing the two. Same position, different verbiage, both equally as inept, but at least one, the United States counterpart hasn't gone through a recent corruption scandal that nobody's talking about, that he completely bungled the Air Force and didn't maintain any of the fleet, and Trudeau just swept it under the rug because the media are just lapdogs of the Liberal government. Canadian Armed Forces flights to and from Hamid Karzai International Airport will resume shortly. Cool. Please feel free to stick around. Nothing bad can happen. Just don't stray too far away from the fence because we can't guarantee your safety. On Sunday, Trudeau committed to resettling 20,000 Afghans, though, in the ongoing special immigration measures program. Yep, can't get out as many Canadians as we want, but please bring 20,000 brown people. You suck. But how about this? How about a national jab mandate? Oh, it's not here yet. Big emphasis on the yet. Remember, he said, we're not a country that makes vaccinations mandatory. Look at the Millennium Falcon statue I have in the back corner of my room. Aren't I cool? Fuck off. Clip of Justin Trudeau saying that Canada is not a country that makes vaccinations mandatory has reemerged as the Trudeau camp. Wow, that's not a conflation I want to ever make again. Continues to twist the arm of unvaccinated Canadians. The clip from a May episode of the Brandon Gomez show, shows Trudeau saying, what do you do with someone who has an allergy, or someone who's immunocompromised, or someone who has religious or deep convictions decides that no, they're not going to get a vaccine. We're not a country that makes vaccinations mandatory, for example. We want to encourage everyone to get it. Really, motherfucker? Trudeau says unvaccinated Canadians put the vaccinated at risk by using planes and trains and automobiles and not wearing sweet Leatherman jackets. because you're just out of high school, you fucking fruit. Remember, it's not quite a vaccine mandate yet. Right now, it's just an us versus them mentality. That the leader of Canada, like the 5th largest country, economically, the 2nd largest when it comes to just sheer land mass, that guy, he just, doing an us versus them tactic. It's fucking great. Appeared on the campaign trail for Liberal candidate George Cathal in Calgary. Oh, this'll go over smooth. Last night, when he continued to push his government's plan to ban unvaccinated Canadians from traveling by plane or train. Yeah, Alberta's like the one free province out there. Who knows how long it's going to stay free for? As of right now, I haven't seen any indications that they're going to lock down any harder. All they've done so far is just walked back we're not going to be dropping any of the quarantine measures. If you pop, go away and hide in your closet for whatever it is, 10 or 14 days now. You can fucking toot on this for 10 to 14 days. You deserve a government that's going to continue to say get vaccinated. Oh no, what about in May when you said you have a choice? Anyways. And you know what? If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. Really, we're just going to make it incredibly hard on you. And this is coming from the Prime Minister. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train because of vaccinated people and put them at risk. Wait a minute. I'm just because he didn't have that cognitive dissonance moment doesn't mean that I don't have to, because I have a functioning brain between my ears that's actually of normal size and not like a little duodenum in this fucking dome just knocking around on his skull. I thought if you got fully vaccinated, you were safe, and that's the best way to defeat this pandemic. But if you get on a plane with, oh my god, you see how quickly this devolves, and that you can easily start pushing the us versus them narrative. Oh, not saying I'm scared. I'm just saying I'm making sure that the oil is changed and my fuel tank is all the way topped up. Just saying. Prime Minister said that there's a lot of people who disagree with his position, but that it's okay because we live in a democracy. You can fuck off. What about this unpopular bitch who isn't going to get fucking elected? Trudeau Liberal candidate tells Albertans to fit in or fuck off, Conservative MP responds. She's trying to run in Alberta. Okay, which has the laxest restrictions, which is kind of like the smartest woman in a special ed spelling bee. It's not really a fucking great accomplishment right now, but it's better than everywhere else, and I still do love Alberta. In response to recent revelations that Trudeau Liberal candidate from Calgary, Nose Hill, Jessica Dale Walker, never trust a bitch with a hyphenated last name, that's just good practice in life, told Alberta to fit in or fuck off. Michelle Rempel Garner, a Conservative candidate, again, let's temper our expectations of how hard she's going to be going in. Same candidate from the same region, or riding rather, slammed both Walker and Trudeau in a statement issued yesterday. It shouldn't surprise anyone that Justin Trudeau has acclaimed a candidate that believes Alberta should fit in or fuck off. Hey, at least credit where credit's due. She didn't censor fuck. Appreciate her. And that Canada owes Alberta nothing. Just leave us the fuck alone. I appreciate that. When he has ignored the Alberta jobs crisis, correct, ruined the investment climate in Alberta with job-killing bills like C-69, nice, and C-48. Already, she's better than the dumb motherfucker who is my member of parliament right now. I really like that this bitch is actually onto something, not equalization payments are bad. Fuck off. Appointed his own senators instead of democratically elected Alberta senators, based, and failed to fight for the Keystone XL expansion. Alright, this bitch has gained a considerable amount of respect in my book. Everything that she just said there is based. I love it. At the time when the country should be coming together to fight the pandemic and focus on the economic recovery, again, shouldn't give women too much credit. Once again, the Liberals choose to divide Canadians and Albertans. There we go. If we could just leave now, maybe secede in about, 3.5 years' time, that'd be pretty dope. I would definitely be on board with that. But, yeah. You won't be getting base takes like that when it comes to what's trending out there, because Facebook Canada, like the biggest news source in the entire fucking world, which is strange to think, makes CBC an election campaign fact checker, because fuck the truth, we have a narrative to push. Facebook Canada yesterday named CBC as an election campaign fact checker. The Crown Broadcaster's French language service, Radio Canada, will monitor the media's news stories to ensure accuracy and that the narrative is being followed, though the network has acknowledged multiple errors in its news coverage. It's bought and paid for by the fucking government, and you expect them to hold the government accountable? Jesus Christ, it's like expecting Hunter Biden to go in hard on China. Not their prostitutes, but the country, because they're fucking lining his pockets. God, this is Canada. I can't even get too mad because it's exactly what I expected. Oh, when a fact checker rates a piece of content as false, we significantly reduce its distribution so that fewer people can see it. Yeah, I think that goes up. I think that'll go up Sunday. It's about Google suppressing news stories that they don't like. Yeah, they've been doing that forever, but at least Facebook's coming out and saying it. Google just uses Wikipedia articles. Yeah, spoiler on that one. Fucking Jesus. We notify people who try to share content or previously shared it that the information is false because the Ministry of Truth has told us so. 1984 was not supposed to be a handbook. Fahrenheit 455, or 451, sorry, don't need to get too hot, was supposed to be the blueprint for the future. One other media agency, Agence France Presse, the subsidized Paris-based news agency, will also act as campaign fact-checker. What the fuck's with all these frogs fact-checking an election? You guys take up like 10 to 25% of the population. The rest of us speak English. Suck a dick. But you're French, that's already implied. Every fact-checking organization in the program is required to have a public appeals email address. Cool, which will, I don't know, you might as well just redirect it to your nearest trash bin. We are now in a stormy seas of self-interest. Well, bring on the scrutiny. You won't listen. You won't read any of it. The program was intended to fight disinformation and connect with Canadians. Credible information, wrote Facebook. Credible information on Facebook. They fact-check memes, okay? They aren't necessarily the beacons of fucking truth or objectivity that they like to think they are. We are committed to doing our part to support civic engagement. Unless you have wrongthink, then we'll yeet you off the platform. The social media company, in a guide combating misinformation and promoting credible information, said fact-checking includes removing harmful misinformation and could lead to imminent violence of physical. It's a fucking election with a corrupt asshole on one side and a bald corrupt asshole on the other. You're not fucking doing Yauman's work, you dickheads. The network to date admittedly inaccurately reported the AstraZeneca vaccine was 100% effective. That is, patently false. Mistakenly claimed Saskatchewan. It was never even that. It was like high 90s when it first came out. Mistakenly claimed Saskatchewan Health Minister Paul Merriman had COVID. Garbled statements from the Mid-East conflict by Green Party leader, enemy Paul. I will laugh hard when she loses her own riding. Falsely claimed the RCMP fatally shot a woman in Edmondson, New Brunswick. Falsely claimed police fatality. Tasered a man in Winnipeg and misidentified the first black MP elected to Parliament. But again, they're the fact checkers. And they're in charge of this statement that we read before. When a fact checker rates a piece of content false, we significantly reduce its distribution so that fewer people can see it. I expect 0 CBC news articles to be shared. Just saying, their track record speaks louder than they possibly could. But Trudeau's made several other stupid things. Like, he doesn't consider, get this one, as Prime Minister, he doesn't think about monetary policy. He's an idiot. He has people to think for him, I suppose. He's too busy just painting on whatever shade of color he needs to make the biggest amount of impact for and then apologize for it later, and everybody will just write glowing pieces. Oh, he's such a humble, handsome leader. Fuck off. This dude here, you've seen the article accidentally a bunch of times. I do apologize for that. But Derek Sloan, okay, he's an independent member of Parliament. I think he was the one who got kicked out because he received get this one for Canada. He received a campaign donation from somebody who might have said something spicy in the past. Might have said something. Get this one. And then Aaron O'Toole threw him out of the fucking party. There's nothing to write home about for Aaron O'Toole. There's little he can do to convince me that he's worth a good goddamn. I would love to see that party go down in flames, but then at the same time I'm conflicted because if they fuck up and die, the PPC is nowhere near at a point where it can just go in and take over the share that the Conservatives had. I'm not saying that because I don't like what the PPC is all about. It's just the fact that immediately stepping into those shoes is like when you're 2 years old putting on your father's shoes to just, I don't know, make a little funny shuffle video. They're not ready yet. And they'd be going up from 3.2% to fill the, role of the official opposition? It's highly unlikely. It's highly fucking unlikely. Would I be happy as hell if it did? Of course I would be. But in all honesty, Conservatives are looking down the barrel of that firearm and it's going to hold about 85, 90, maybe 100 seats if they're lucky. We're not going to be going anywhere because basically it's just, I don't know, do you like the blue flavor or do you like the red flavor? There's no real difference when it comes to policy, when it comes to the conservatives and the liberals. Okay, the liberals are probably a little bit farther left, but the conservatives don't even come out and say what their actual positions are. At least you got this dude who took like $250 from somebody who might have made a Nazi comparison way back in the cut. And he has my entire sentiment at heart. Sloan disgusted by Trudeau Liberals, other parties, for no pushback against vaccine mandate. PPC's against it, but none of the major parties, nobody who can actually affect significant change right now gives a fuck about this. It's all about compliance, and they just want to be at the controls. Independent MP Derek Sloan complained that Trudeau's liberal extreme infringements on personal rights and liberties amid calls for the federal vaccine mandate. Again, because this guy's independent, this also does kind of give, it's a very long shot that anything like this would happen, but because he's independent, he doesn't have to follow the party line. So maybe there's more members of parliament, because you also know, little Pierre there, Polivier. He's pretty based on a bunch of different topics, but because Derek Sloan is independent, he's allowed to speak his mind sort of as much as a Canadian politician can and would. He at least has really good takes on things, at least as much as the tertiary reading I did before bringing this up. Maybe that gives me hope a little bit more for the conservative politicians that are out there. At least trying to spin this as being something good, because the leadership up at the top, you know my opinion on it, so fuck it. Sloan took exception with the comments made by the Prime Minister, who said cracking down on unvaccinated Canadians was an election issue. He said that not only was he going by force federal employees to get vaccinated, he said that anyone who wants to go on an airplane, yes, travel by train, would need to be vaccinated. That's an explicit threat by the Prime Minister. I do believe so. We are requiring federally regulated employers to adjust their rules to ensure a mandate is imposed by no later than the end of October. Said Transportation Minister. I can't pronounce his name, but it's diverse, so therefore it's good. On Friday, we will be working with employers on defining new regulatory framework. Like I said, it's not a conspiracy theory, okay? Any institution that gets funding from the government is subject to the whims of the government cutting the checks. So if they're all about vaccine mandates, if they're all about mask mandates, guess what? You don't get the money unless you stick a needle in your arm, unless you slap a mask on your face. Science be damned, it's all about what the government tells you to do. And at the end of the day, if they have their fact checkers on this one, you won't be hearing any dissenting opinion on that. You'll just be labeled as crazy if you think otherwise. Dystopian hellhole. Sloan said the policy objective was an absolute disgrace. It is. It absolutely is. According to the Federal Privacy Commissioner, the compulsory disclosure of personal medical information to access public services is a breach of the Privacy Act. That's all right. Just take a look at the previous video when, the governor of Connecticut decided that, local health officials can take a look at your vaccination records. Don't worry about it. You think that would stop anybody in Canada from doing it? Oh, it'll violate the Privacy Act. That's in the States, a violation of your Fifth Amendment rights. Lol. Fifth and Sixth. Anyways, a re-elected Liberal cabinet would draft regulations banning unvaccinated travelers from domestic flights and via rail trains by October 31st, according to Agraba. Sloan then cited what was permissible medical experts under the Nuremberg trials following a World War II based. The importance of consent is mentioned, adding it shouldn't be purchased at a price. Yeah, it really shouldn't, but again, this is one voice. This is one drop in a bucket that is absolutely polluted from the bottom up, and I don't know, I kind of feel the walls closing in. People shouldn't have to say yes only because they're losing their jobs. If they say no, they shouldn't say yes only after having their arms twisted so far. Yep, because you don't like the alternative. You really wouldn't like the alternative. This is not informed consent, clarifies Sloan. Yeah, it's coercion. COVID vaccine that we're talking about here was developed on an expedited time frame and reasons obviously that we already know. An Angus Reid poll, nice, found increasing tensions between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. You needed a poll for that? Oh, okay. Overall, 3/4 of Canadians have no sympathy for unvaccinated individuals who contract COVID-19. Yeah, and probably no fear for their life either. This rises to 83% among fully vaccinated Canadians. Oh, it's like the pod people. One of us. That's why it's so pernicious what Trudeau's doing right now. Just doing the us versus them. It's the unvaccinated against us intelligent people. Fucking mop the floor with you in a debate there, pal, but that's neither here nor there. 66% of Conservative Party supporters said they had no sympathy for people who choose not to get vaccinated. That is way too high. And then got ill, then rises to 80% and 87% for federal NDP and Liberals, respectively. Did you expect anything different? The NDP, if the Liberals are already standing on the diving board of leftism, oh yeah, the NDP, they're already like in their third rotation all the way down to the bottom. Wish the pool was empty. Sloan maintained the respect to the choices the Canadians to either get vaccine or abstain, but continued, there is no medical reason why we need to force every man, woman, and child to get vaccinated. I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't. I hope this dude wins the election. Hopefully he can enact some change, because at the end of the day, I'm just telling you guys what I see here. I feel like a lot of you guys also agree with that, but then again, you're also all around the world, and you guys are dealing with your own special brand of horseshit from your different authoritarian governments right now. Or maybe some of you live in Sweden and they're pretty based on this stuff, but also some of you are also in Australia, which my hearts go out to, because that video the last time we talked about Australia, it got fucking yeeted. So I don't know right now. The appeal is still currently out, so I could be very, very ornery the next time you guys hear from me. But just in case, YouTube is still up, I'm going to do some plugging here, and we're going to be getting this one going here. It's a totally different feel. It's still going to be me. I'm still going to be talking about different articles that are out there, but it's going to be a little bit of a change tonally. Okay, the rhetoric's going to be toned down. You're not going to be getting any hot political takes. It's not going to be so inflammatory. It's just going to be a look at different nutrition, different training, different supplementation, and just overall well-being. Because if you guys didn't know, now you do. I'm a CSEP personal trainer, certified. Went to school for it. Got my exercise physiology degree. I know what I'm talking about. Haven't had the opportunity to talk about it a lot, hence why I'm going to be launching the second channel, where we're just going to be talking about the benefits of, say, vitamin D, vitamin D3 in your diet, what the differentiations between those two things are, the benefits of having a probiotic in your diet, okay, the different ways that you can work out at home, because with different vaccine mandates and different vaccine passports that are getting implemented everywhere, more at-home workouts are going to be necessary. So different training methodologies for that, and different relaxation and recovery methods as well. It's going to be all about fitness. It's going to be a completely different change of pace. It's going to be a lot more relaxed, a lot more chill, because I can see a little bit of a niche in the market that needs to be filled. And who else other than somebody who, kind of has a background in this kind of stuff can break it down? So I'm going to give a kick at the cat at that. Nothing's up there right now. The link's in the description down below if you want to hop on board and be there for the first video. Probably be in the next couple of days. Don't know what the release schedule is going to be. Right now, it's probably not going to be daily, but we're going to be hitting it up every so often throughout the week. If you guys like my take on the news, you might like my take on exercise, nutrition, supplementation, and just living an overall better life, because a lot of this stuff is pretty heavy right now. It's going to get a hell of a lot worse. So if you start to work on yourself and you start to become a more complete human being, I think you're going to be able to weather the storm a whole hell of a lot better. With that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. Follow your gut and get after it. I just about forgot my own fucking sign off. Take care, everyone.